So it's almost that time of year, the work Christmas party. I recall my first work Christmas party after I quit drinking, and I was absolutely dreading it. I was really worried. The booze was going to be flowing. I think everybody that I was going with was going to be drinking. I thought I was going to be pressured, I was going to be triggered. But with some simple tactics, I found that I could go to the work Christmas party and I could still enjoy myself. So I wanted to share with you a few tips at how I managed to survive the work Christmas party and actually enjoy it at the same time. The first tip that I used was to visualize. I spent some time thinking about how it was going to be. I sat with my eyes shut and I visualized everything from driving to the venue, how it was going to be when I arrived, what was going to happen when I walked through the door, who I was going to talk to, what I was going to say when people asked me what I was drinking, how I was going to respond when somebody came up to me with a tray of complimentary champagne. And I really spent some time visualising it all, just running it through in my mind like a movie. And then I wrote it down in my journal. And actually, the next day, I wrote down how it was in comparison to how I visualised it. And it was pretty much the same. So, visualisation is a great way of kind of training your mind to get used to how it's going to be for you and set your expectations around how the event's going to unfold and how it's going to be. My next tip would be to think about driving if that feels right for you. It's not always possible or practical, but if you can drive and you know that you're not going to drink, it can just be a simple way of saying, I'm not drinking tonight, I'm driving. I also called ahead to the venue. Our last Christmas party was at a really fancy hotel, and I called them and asked them, what drinks have you got? What alcohol-free options are there? Can I bring my own alcohol-free drinks? And they were absolutely fine with all of that. And in fact, I saw one person who had brought their own alcohol-free beers and they had them stashed under the table. So call ahead, ask, find out what they've got, what you like, and then you know what to expect when you get there and what drinks you can look forward to enjoying on the night. In terms of alcohol-free drinks, if you have a form to fill out ahead of the meal that you've got with your work Christmas party, and it asks about dietary requirements, add into the dietary requirements section, alcohol-free, I don't drink. You can add that in there and then they know that you're alcohol-free and they know not to offer you alcoholic drinks or complimentary booze on the night. The other thing is to make yourself accountable. If possible, talk to some of your colleagues or friends who you're going with and tell them that you're not drinking. Maybe you can look at the seat plan and get yourself positioned next to people who are supportive and are going to encourage you rather than encourage you to drink and will support you on your sober journey. So making yourself accountable, sitting yourself next to people who've got your back can also be a great way to have a fun experience at your work Christmas party when you're not drinking. Again, it's not always possible, but if you're open and you talk to people, usually they will try and help and they will want to be supportive. I also recommend thinking about leaving whenever you feel ready. Now, I used to go to the work Christmas party. I would be the last person to leave, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, barely able to stand up. What I've found at these kind of events is that come 11:30, midnight, most people are drunk, they're repeating themselves, they're not listening to what you're saying, they're talking really loudly and becoming slightly irritating, they're spraying you with spit when they're talking to you, and it just gets annoying and I found that I just didn't want to be there any longer, and that's fine. So when you're ready, make your decision and you can say your goodbyes. You can get in your car if you're driving and you can go home to your comfy, beautiful bed and have a dreamy night's sleep and wake up in the morning fully refreshed with no hangover. And the final thing as well, don't forget to have a good time. You're going to be fully present. You're going to be totally engaged in great conversation and laughter. So instead of fearing it, go there with a sense of excitement and anticipation and look forward to it. And it might be your big opportunity to dance sober, which is a big sober first for a lot of us. And it feels very liberating and freeing when you actually do that for the first time. I felt really self-conscious the first time I danced sober, but then I realised everybody around me was completely drunk and was not paying the slightest bit of attention to me. And after I let myself go, I really got into it and I've danced several times since, and I'll be doing it again at this year's Christmas party. So make sure you enjoy it, have an awesome Christmas party, and I'd love to hear how everybody gets on at theirs. I hope these tips help.